Well, hello YouTube. This is Com back with another video, a little bit different than what we usually do with Bleeding Edge. Today I got my good pal with me, Two Beards. What's up, Two Beards?
Nothing. Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, and I'm sure you've heard his voice many times in our videos if you've watched my videos on YouTube. But today what we wanted to do is discuss a little bit about the update that Ninja Theory gave us for Bleeding Edge. We're going to talk about the update, and we're going to talk about this and speculate on, well, the new character that may be coming, which kind of contradicts what some of the conversations that me and Two Beers have, well, the arguments, I'll say, that we have in terms of whether or not this game will be continually supported in the future. So,
Damn.
yeah, I know. So let me go for introductions real quick for those who may not necessarily watch the videos, but may have came across this. My name is Com, a streamer. You can call me a boomer, whatever. I stream a lot of games. A lot of games I usually like to play are card games. Bleeding Edge was a game that caught my eye a while back when it first came out. I found the designs interesting, the characters interesting, and I really wanted to give it a try and see, what kind of game it was and what it is and so forth. And I've probably been playing since the beta. I probably wasn't in the first wave. Maybe about, let's say, maybe the third or fourth wave, maybe a month after they started doing the beta testing. I was able to get into the game, and I've been playing it since then. I may not be a pro level in Bleeding Edge, but I think I put enough time, and I have enough love for the game, just to at least give my opinion on it. And go ahead, Two Beers, I'll let you go ahead and speak and give your introduction and your experience with, Bleeding Edge.
I dabble around a little bit in streaming, but not that much. I am a artist, mostly cartoonist, illustrator, draw comics, so on and so forth. I am one part of the. I am one of the lines that make up Voltron on the podcast in the know, shoot the shit version. And as far as Bleeding Edge goes, I first got into a beta, and I basically played each beta since then and saw some highs and lows. And I've been around since the launch. I've actually enjoyed the game, so I'm looking forward to this discussion, I guess I could say.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's good. So real quick, let's go into some of the things that we really like and don't like about Bleeding Edge. I've already talked a little bit about it. The character designs is probably one of the first things that drew me in. Once I got in after the character designs, the fighting system itself I thought was a lot of fun, right? Even though I'm not a master of the parry system, and a lot of times, my boomer brain, you remember, oh yeah, I can parry. Oh yeah, you're continually doing combos to me. Yeah, I can actually, break, from the ground up. When I remember those things, I actually happen to do it, But overall, I think the biggest thing I like the most about Bleeding Edge is definitely the gameplay mechanics of it, and definitely the design. Before I go into what I don't like, why don't you share with everybody, what you enjoy about Bleeding Edge, Two Bears?
Oh, I definitely love I love the character designs. I love the feel of the game. I love the animations for it as well.
Good point.
Yeah, so it's like I love the animations, the feel of the game, and I love the character. I love the character designs.
Now, when we go into dislikes, I think we might be similar when it comes to this, somewhat like we were with the likes. And I think the biggest dislike I think about Bleeding Edge is probably it's the team mechanic. It's not that I don't like it because it's a team-based game. I don't like it because of the state of people who play multiplayer games. Unfortunately, Bleeding Edge is an objective-based game, and most people play it like team deathmatch, and rarely ever do objectives. Like, for instance, when you do capture the objective, and A is around, they will rather walk, all the way to the B side if you're on A, just to chase a kill and get a kill. Go ahead, sir. What's some of your dislikes for Bleeding Edge?
Oh, it's pretty much the same. I've always I really dislike team games. So which is funny that I like this one so much. If it's a sort of team game where you don't where like I don't mind like old school like arena shooters like a Halo or Gears or stuff like that with multiplayer, because it's pretty much like everybody has the same skill set for the most part, so you don't really, well, except for the newer Gears, but so you don't really have to rely on anybody to do what they're supposed to do job wise. And it's like unfortunately like my same problems that I have with every team-based game where everybody plays a specific job position. This suffers from the same thing. So it's like if you don't have the right loadout of team members, like the whole thing can fall apart. If you're missing a tank or you're missing support, or you got like somebody who picks a certain role but refuses to play it correctly. Can't tell you how many times we've seen healers trying to go out and act like they're tanks.
The zero cool ADCs, right?
Yeah. I think we always boil that down to like everybody wants to play the game as if it was everybody wants to play these sort of games as if they were Call of Duty. Like I had the same problem for the small amount of time I was playing Overwatch as well. So it's like that's always been my beef with these sort of games. My other issue with the game is I do like the fact that they added a parry, like maybe a block as well. I know they don't want to break the game, but I feel that because of the way that the game is and the way that you unless you come into the game with a pre-made team, you don't know what you're doing. You know what you're going to get. Like I think having a block button along with the parry might actually help even things out when you got a shitty player on your squad.
Interesting.
I also think that they need to be more transparent, like to let people know what they have down the line. Like it looks like they're starting to do that now, which I'm happy with, but I think they need to be more transparent, more vocal. Like act like they, like they still support it.
I was looking at going into what they could do, but let's jump into that a little bit now since you talked about it. So I agree with you. I think so earlier I made a statement about me and Two Beers discussions, and you might, if you catch my stream, I stream usually Wednesday through Saturday, and usually Wednesdays and Thursdays are usually the days that I dedicate a stream to Bleeding Edge. All those games from the streams I usually will upload on YouTube, so if you don't catch the stream on my YouTube channel, you could go ahead and see all those matches, except for the ones that are like supremely boring. But the argument, let's have the argument now, not argument, but discussion was, when me and Two Beers would discuss things about where this game is going, a lot of times Two Beers will bring up the example of Sea of Thieves, which is the example also under Microsoft Studios, also under Game Pass. Similar, I could see where you could draw, the comparisons between the two. But I think when I look at Ninja Theory, and we'll jump into the updates in a minute, I think their marketing isn't bad. It's just is very minimum, right? So I think like they will. So they interact. The good news is they interact with their fan base, through Discord, through Twitter, through their normal web portal, Bleeding Edge web portal .com. But the problem I have is, as you talk about transparencies, like they'll blurt out something every few weeks. Like I always get the feeling like they abandoned the game, and then they'll drop like a nugget of information that says, hey, we didn't abandon the game, we're actually introducing a new character. That character we promised Meko, yeah, he's coming out this time. Or we're introducing a new stage. Oh, I forgot about this stage. Yeah, we got this. Oh, guess what, we got another stage, which I'll show in a moment. Facility 665 is coming out. And wait, what's that? Is that a new character? Yeah, and we're doing this and that. And it's like, it's cool, like they're throwing out these nuggets to let you know, hey, what's here. But what I would like to see from the Bleeding Edge team, and I understand they're a small team, but I would like to have like a roadmap or like a video discussion, something that says, which goes into your transparency, that says, hey guys, we haven't the game that we gave you is not complete, right? We want to keep we'll keep completing, we'll keep sending more content. It's not complete in terms of updating more content. And for the rest of 2020, this is what we would like to do. I mean, you don't even have to go, but this, you can say this is what we would like to do. And give us some kind of roadmap, right? And then say in 2021, we hope to bring this and this. And it gives like people something to let them know that they're still working on the game. Instead of these little nuggets here and there, because somebody comes in, they don't know, they hear Bleeding Edge, they jump into it, they say, hey, it's pretty fun. And then after, a week or two, maybe their friends tell them to go play, hey, let's go play the new characters of the new season of Apex, or let's go play this new game that just came out on Game Pass, whatever the case may be. And then, they forget about it, and there's nothing there to drive them back. But go back to you. What are your thoughts on it, Two Bears?
Yeah, I do completely agree. Like, I feel there needs to be a roadmap of some sort. Like I do like the fact they seem to be stepping that up a little bit more now. But I still wish that they would do something along the lines of saying, we plan on implementing this many maps by next year, this many characters, this many modes. So they can still keep it mysterious, but at least people will know these sort of things are coming out. Outside of that, like I feel I feel maybe they should like go to some people in the art community, like maybe get them to do a few things to get people hyped up, like maybe have people become fans of the series through outside media, like how kind of in a way like some people actually became fans of games like Mass Effect and Overwatch and other games before they even played it by looking at some of the art online and some of the little mini comics that people were making, like really try to grow, push, and nurture the community. But on the things that we disagree on, besides Sea of Thieves, I think stuff like Street Fighter V, which was dead on arrival, No Man's Sky, things of that nature, I feel that, and I feel No Man's Sky was even worse because Hello Games kept promising shit for months to come, and then after a while they just went dead silent. And everybody thought the game was completely dead, and then they eventually finally, when they finally had something to show, then they started coming back and making updates and telling people what was going on. But it took so long for those updates, people literally thought the game was finished. So I think, or we can even go to the First Division, which is kind of like seems to be in the same boat Division 2 is in right now, where like people pretty much thought that game was dead, and then they came back with a great amount of content and actually save the what everybody thought was a dead game. So I feel that this game, even right now, is it in the current state it's in, is in a much better standing than all the games that I mentioned before, except for Sea of Thieves. I feel that even with the lack of content Sea of Thieves had at that time, the whole like sandbox pirating of it, we were actually able to make our own fun out of like the silliest stuff on there. I think what you're wanting for ranking systems to try to basically
wait, before you go into all of that, I'll introduce the rankings. Let me give some context to the people, because you jumped into what you disagree, but you didn't explain where that came from. So what Two Beers is talking about in terms of disagreement with me is I often will say that this game is dead, or I felt that the game was dead. And part of me believes there's really nothing that they could really do to bring it to the glory it was before, or even higher. At least as of right now, that's what I feel with this game. And what it feels like the diminishing community. So when Two Beers brings up games like Street Fighter, and he brings up games like No Man's Skies, he's bringing them up as an examples of games that started out, died off in terms of their community, but they were able to revive those games and give a second life to those games with updates later on. But my argument, I always say with Two Beers is, one, Street Fighter is a bigger franchise, so that's a little bit different, even though fighting games are usually a small knit community. And No Man's Sky is an adventure game similar to, I would put in the same boat as Sea of Thieves, where you still kind of make your own story and adventure out of it. It's not like its own narrative. You kind of make your own narrative in it, which is different than when you look at a game like Bleeding Edge, which is a fighting game, but it's not a fighting game, but it is a fighting game. But it's like a hero fighting game. And fighting games already, to begin with, is a small niche community. So you're not going to get those Call of Duty numbers, you're not going to get those Fortnite numbers, because in itself, it's a niche genre of gaming. And you don't want to lose those people who play those niche games, because it's hard to get them back. So that's where I disagree with him in accordance to that. Did you want to add anything to that before I go into the rankings?
I feel it has enough setting it apart to, like most people who've never played it automatically, like they try to compare it to Overwatch, but I think it has I think it has a lot of its own originality to it, that if that was actually just made front and center, I think people would appreciate it more. One of the things that sucks, and I'm going to make this, I'm going to actually add myself into this and make a direct comparison.
Okay.
I feel that because of the company that they're currently under, they're under way more scrutiny. I feel that if they had released this game outside of being under Microsoft, I think would have done much more better, especially if it was like if they released it and of course it was on Steam, PlayStation, maybe the Switch and the Xbox. I think it would be a hit right now, but I think it's just because the company is under, because it's like I'll see multiple YouTubers who played it and they'll be like it's they'll shit on it, but they'll compliment it at the same time, which is the weirdest shit. It sucked, it flopped, but it's not like it's a bad game. I enjoyed it while I played it, but it was just like, that was cool, on to something else. And I'm like, what type of review is that? So like, and the way I'm relating this to myself is that like, as I mentioned before in the beginning of the stream, I do artwork. And one of the things that I've always found interesting is that the type of art that I do will get praise, praise from some people if people look at somebody else doing the same exact style that I do. But if they look at my stuff, I'll get the criticisms of it being too cartoony. I use too many gradient backgrounds. I don't have enough backgrounds. When actually I'll even prove to them that I draw more backgrounds in my comics than a lot of the artists that they praise. Because it's like even if you look at a lot of professional comics these days, like there's a ton of pages that are just like gradient backgrounds with clouds. They like backgrounds are like a thing of the past in the 90s with a lot of artists. Not with all of them, but with a big majority of the new guys. So it's always interesting that like depending on where it's coming from, it's seen different. I hope I bridged and connect those two.
Yeah, you're a ramble mode. Okay, I understand. I don't know, because it's on Steam, and the problem I think we have with a lot of Bleeding Edge is that there's nothing for us to see where the community is, or how much or how big it was and how small it is. There's nothing for us to see those numbers, right? So we got to rely on Steam review, Steam charts, basically. And that's going to be a small sample, because those are people who went out and bought the game, as opposed to all the people who are on Game Pass who may be playing it for free. How often are they playing it? And it's kind of harder to find those numbers and to track those numbers to really see how big or how small the game is. So you kind of go with what you feel. But real quickly, what I wanted to go to, but real quick, before you said under Microsoft, it's a possibility. I think if Bleeding Edge was on PlayStation, maybe it might have more users, but I don't know if it would have sold or been a bigger game in that case. You could say, yeah, if it's third party, but that's the case for any first party game, right? If you're third party, you're always going to be bigger because you have more consoles, more everything to be on. But a lot of their first party games aren't really based on sales because they're all included in Game Pass. So you can't really look at it from that standpoint. They just look at it from the standpoint of it's accessible, how many people are playing it.
I'll go one step further, and I'll say if this game launches as a PlayStation console exclusive, I feel it would have done better just because it was on the PS.
I know you're saying it's doing better, but you can't say that because you don't know what the numbers are now, and it's a free game under the Game Pass. So it's kind of hard to say that it would be more successful under PlayStation when you don't really even know what the numbers are, even now, to even make an analysis as to what it would be, right? And I think a lot of the issues that people have with Bleeding Edge is, yeah, it's a fun game, but is it fun enough for you to play it month after month after month after month? For some people it is. Like for me, I could go and play Bleeding Edge. I won't play it every day. You know, I'll play it once, 2 times a week for a couple hours and I get my fill of it, right? I mean, let's look at it. You only have really 2 game modes. All right. I forget how many maps there are in Bleeding Edge. And it's a small amount of characters, right? So you're limited in terms of variety of what you get. And even in the variety of what we play, usually you see the same Steam comps and the same things. You see always Zero Cool. You know, usually in if it's a pre-made 4-man team, you see Zero Cool and Kulev or Zero Cool and Miko. You always see a double healer and you see a tank, and then you'll see one, carry damage, or you'll see no tank, 2 healers, and then you'll see 2 damage. I mean, you see the same thing. So I understand in terms of bringing people back, right? And this is what's going to go into when we go into updates and what they need to bring more to the game to grab those people. But would you disagree in terms of what Bleeding Edge offers?
Yes and no. I will disagree with I'll agree in the aspect that like there's certain games, just like how Apex started off huge and his community died down because because of the small team that was working on it. They refused to do crunch. Thank goodness. They lost a lot of the community because a lot of people didn't want to wait for wait for new content. So there is an attention deficit disorder to certain types of games. I've seen it happen in the earlier days of Dead by Daylight as well, when they worked under. Yeah. So it's like, so I can see it in that aspect, but then it's like, if I look at it from the melee fighting part of it, like there are games out there where people just play like there's nothing different about it. You may get like a new stage and a new character every now and again, but it's like you're just playing the same characters, fighting the same teams. If you're playing something like Dragon Ball Fighters and stuff over and over again, I do feel that one of the things like that needs to be really hyped up is to basically let people know that you can actually with enough points you can actually mod your character, because that can actually make a character feel and play different altogether as well. So it's like I may have an El Bastardo that's so pumped in certain areas that I won't need the usual support there to help me out as a tank, because I can last a pretty long time. That'll allow an assassin or a ranged character to do their thing, even though we don't have a healer. Or like taking somebody that's squishy and all of a sudden even like hyping up their speed or adding something else that actually makes them feel like a different character altogether. I feel that sort of thing should actually be pumped up as in for replay value, and also so to let people know that, hey, you might be running into the same characters the same character team all the time, but if you switch this around and switch this around, it kind of makes the game feel a bit different. Just like just like basically show different things, aspects of the game, so people just don't think all it is like an Overwatch melee clone, an Overwatch clone that's melee based that doesn't have much going for it.
Okay. So real quick before we go into it, let's look at real quickly their update, right? So what we have here now is this is the Bleeding Edge website, and this is a cool thing. So here under news, this is where they do a lot of their updates, and one of the things that we see, we're getting a new patch. I believe it's coming out tomorrow, Tuesday, I believe. And in this patch, we're getting the facility, we're getting Makuto rework, and we're getting leaderboards.
I'm just thinking that's funny that they would announce that. Hey, we're getting the Makuto rework.
Yeah, well, the Makuto thing I think was big because anybody who played him in the beta, the man was literally unkillable.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, seriously, he was unkillable in the beta.
I remember we would be chasing him all around the board and he wouldn't die.
No, he would not die. And then they kind of made it to a point now where, like, he's so squishy, it is he could barely, like, you had to play, like, really hit and run with him a lot more so than before. But what we see,
they nerfed Buttercup also, though.
Yeah, they kind of nerfed Buttercup, but we'll go into the previous updates in a moment. But so here's the new map, facility 665. We kind of saw real quick layout. Let me go to it real quickly here. We saw a layout right here of the facility right here. So this is the map, and we can see basically the design of the map, and it looks pretty big. And they give us like a 3/4, three-quarter view, top view, and then an over top view of the map itself, so we can see what everything looks like, which is really, really cool. So we get the new map, which is awesome because I love the last map that they gave us.
Same.
And then we get Makuto, as we discussed. He needs a little love. I agree. It's very rare you ever see Makutos, and a lot of times when you see Makutos, they really don't
know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. They don't really contribute to helping the team much, right? I think Meko in Objective is a better tank than most tanks because, you know, he's able to put down the little field, which gives additional, you know, damage and gives you life steal. So, you know, he could sit underneath for that, and teams can sit underneath for that, and they can last through a lot more. He has a lot more resources for his different modes. You know, Buttercup is good also. Bastardo and Buttercup, they both have their own, you know, feels, but Makuto he's just left out open. So I think them doing an update to him, a rework on him, feels good. I just hope that he's not unkillable. I think that should be given to El Bastardo, seeing now that's part of his ult. To be unkillable. So I think he should do that for him. But one of the things that they are giving us, and they talked about, was the leaderboards, right? So here we can see they have leaderboards. We'll have weekly leaderboards such as top win rate, the highest win rate across all fighters, top killing blows, top damage, top healing, best in class, total damage, total healing, you know, all the little stats that you could ever want to look at for a leaderboard. And I think the leaderboard is amazing. I think it's fun. I think you can't really go by it because, as always, you'll always have people who will give up and feed points to people. We've seen it before in games where you're like, how is that possible? But I've seen it in weird games like Death Garden, where somehow they queue up at the same time, the same 8 people getting matched, and then they just feed them kills and damage and whatever, just so they could pump themselves up. It happens. People find ways to get around to doing it. But the problem I have, I think the leaderboard is awesome. I think them bringing the new emotes and the new boards, any cosmetics that they bring in, I think is always a good thing. But the thing I think that most people are crying about, that most people really need, and is a ranking system. And I don't know if you should say, hey, Con, let's separate the game so you have rank and you have regular playthrough. I don't know if the community's big enough for that, where you can split the two. But there should be some kind of MMR, and I'm sure there probably is, and I just don't know about it, or we just don't see it, the MMR. But there should be some kind of ranking system so that you could play against people of your skill level, right? because the problem I have is I keep going to matches, and unfortunately, I don't have 3 other friends to play with. Right? A lot of times I do solo if it's not with you, and I get into matches. In some matches you get, people are playing together. It's hard fought matches. We may lose or win, but they're fun, right? Hey, we messed up. I messed up. I should have did this. You should have did that. It's, if you watch my videos, I talk about it all the time during them. But they're fun matches, and I like those, right? Where it's like or somebody comes in, you lose a man, and you get the right team, and then you bring it back, whether to lose or to win it. Those are fun experiences that make Bleeding Edge, really, really good. But then you get the matches where you get people who clearly don't know anything about what they're doing, and it's just so infuriating. And you try to tell people, type to people, ping. That's why I like playing PC, because I could type it. I don't have to use a joystick to try to type it. And I could type to them, yeah, let's do this. You could use the pinging system to go here, and people just don't do it. And that's normal multiplayer, but it just gets so annoying. So it would be nice that, let's say if I'm platinum level, I could play with people platinum level, and those new people stay in their gold, silver level, that's right for them, and I get to play with people that are more my skill level, who want to play as good, want to play as hard as I want to play, and we could, make friends and, make teams and do what we need to do. And that's what I want, and the community cries for it. I see it all the time in posts and different things. People keep asking for it, but I don't know if it's something where they're building it and they'll do it. Is it something that they can't implement, or is it something that's already there that we don't even know about? Because once again, there's no communication. There's nothing unless you go into Discord and read all their Discord posts. You're not going to get much out of it. But go ahead, you wanted to say something about leaderboards. I'll let you get your say real quick.
I don't remember what I was going to say about leaderboards.
That boomer brain, sir. No, that's fine. But do you feel there is a need for a ranking system?
Yes. I do feel there's a need for a ranking system. I was laughing when you were bringing up the whole people who feed and boost, because it reminds me of the days when Halo was such a big thing. Not just Halo, but any game. And like we were sitting in the lobby, and then there was some person who would come in, and they were like rank. They were like a super rank, and you was like, oh man, this guy's gonna like fuck us up. And then you get in the game, and they're complete dog shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. There are a lot of boosted people. So real quick, before we go into speculation for the new character, one issue I want to bring into, and I might be wrong, is to me it seems like there's a lot of bots in the game, and I could be wrong, right? I could be so wrong, but it feels like there are bots. And what I mean by bots, I mean like AI control characters that will do a response based on certain parameters, right? So if a person is nearby, they're going to hit all their abilities. And I've seen it with Buttercup, where they all play exactly the same. There's nobody near them, and they're just swinging at the air, doing all the abilities. and it's the same thing, and it's countless times I see it. I will have a video coming up probably within next week, where we had a Nidhogger who literally was going back and forth. In fact, you know what? If I could find that video, I'll put it here so you can see. He was literally going back and forth because he didn't know how to react, because there was people on both sides while he was underneath the ramp, and he didn't know how to react to it. And it's just, and you've seen it before, the Kulev who goes on the train and does nothing but shoot from the top of the train.
Yeah.
In a circle. He just shoots from the top of the train, and that's all he does. He doesn't go anywhere. He just sits there. He drops all of his abilities, and he just shoots. And it's the dumbest. And I don't know if that's something they could fix. If there's something they could detect and they could fix or not. But the bots, there's something that has to be done about these bots, man. They truly, truly ruin this game.
Oh god.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. All right, so let's close it up with the new character real quick. So we have here pictured the new character, which is very interesting, right? You see the dust sands of one of the stages. It might be the new stage. It might be the one stage where the bombs come down with the sand. It might be that stage. Although I don't see anything from that stage of this coloring. So I'm guessing it's one of the newer stages. That's what I'm guessing. Because the coloring of this section doesn't fit that stage. But
I agree.
we see the character here, and it looks like she has wings, or that's her arms that go off in wings. But I think that's her arm right here, her or him, can't assign roles. And you see like the wings. And I know with your speculation, you're like, maybe. So let's start speculating. What do you think this character's abilities are going to be? What kind of character do you think it's going to be?
At first, when I saw the wings, I automatically thought like a flight or a hover. And then you brought up a good point that if the character can fly, if it's not like an alt or an ability or a timed ability that literally breaks the game.
Yes.
So if the character's not hovering, the way that the arms, even though the shadows don't fully they're not fully going down far enough to connect anywhere, it kind of reminds me of the way like a Doc Ock character would move.
I was about to say Spider. Yes. Yeah. I was thinking maybe it might be an arachnid type character, and it's done differently because when we look at Cash, she's like a chicken. When you look at her, her shape and all, her design. So I'm wondering if this character is going to be like a spider-like character, and if it's a spider-like character, what's his abilities? If it's a Doc Ock character, what do you think the abilities are going to be?
I'm gonna assuming there's gonna be like some sort of there's gonna be some sort of like multiple like hit things from the extra arms.
Okay.
And I'm also gonna assume that there will be a stun where maybe the character gets entrapped in like 2 or 4 of the multiple arms.
Okay. So do you think it's going to be a damaged character or support character or a tank?
I think it's going to be a damaged character.
Okay. We kind of do need another support though, but it makes sense that it's a damaged character. That's interesting. I think I think if it's a spider character, then I think it's going to have some kind of projectile, which of course would be a stun. I think I'm not sure if it is a character in like an ex-angel character. Maybe it's a regular character, and maybe the alt gives them the ability to hover or fly for a specific amount of time.
It's possible.
A lot of people who look at it were thinking Kerrigan from StarCraft basically series because of the wings. A lot of people, of course, start thinking of Mercy because of the pose, Mercy. It could be like a bat character. It's all kinds of things that it could be. But I'm very curious, and I'm happy that they gave us this. One other thing too to look at real quick, and let me real quickly show you that, is right here, and this comes by Twitch. The second from last picture on Twitch, where you could tell by looking at it. It's definitely, and they showed this before, and I know when this first came out, people were speculating. They're like, oh, cool. It shows the new map because we have Jersey Press, and it says the HA system super laser was sabotage, right? And we see Nidhogger shooting I-beams in the picture, and it kind of show you the new map on the top and the bottom page. But then there's a hand there, right? A mechanical hand, and we don't know who or what the mechanical hand belongs to. And there's a lot of little stuff there, like Heavenly Hair, As Real as It Gets, The Drink, and all these other things. So I'm very curious. Even when you try to look at the shadows, like in the background of where the hand is, it kind of if you look at it, kind of builds the silhouette, because you see the head over top of the paper. In this, if I could get my mouse over here, in this area, you kind of see the silhouette of the actual paper right here, the person, and then you have stuff over here which looks like the wings or the tentacles or whatever it may be. So it's very interesting. So I'm happy that they're showing us more stuff. Let's close out real quick. What do you want to see from the Bleeding Edge devs going forward?
I'd like to see a block button. I'd like to see more characters, more maps, but I want to see a roadmap so people know that the game is, so people know that they're not going to give up on the game. I also want to see get more community focused. I know this isn't like a big AAA title and this is more of a passion project, but I like to see more of actually getting focus of the community so the game can actually grow bigger and so the top brass at Microsoft will be like, yeah, let's keep it around. I also I want to see train of thought.
Real quick, I just missed while you think of that train of thought. I can't believe I missed it. The new character was right there in front of our face.
Huh?
It literally says it right here. If you look at the bottom of the page, it says Angel. Think of like an angel.
Oh.
Stole my shampoo. And here we have Heavenly Hair, As Real as It Gets.
Oh.
Gladys, 89 reveals all.
Interesting.
Wow. I am a noob. I am horrible. I can't believe I missed that. But go ahead. So there you go. You have it right there. So it looks like it's going to be an Angel character. Or the character's name is going to be Angel, but most likely it'll probably be like an Angel character. But go ahead.
Oh, and the last thing is I want them to bring the speed back to the game. It slowed down significantly.
Okay.
Like I see a lot of people complaining about it. It just feels too slow now compared to other games that it's in the same genre with. So I also agree that they need to bring the speed back.
All right, that makes sense. So the one thing I want from you is, yeah, I agree. I want to see a roadmap, right? And I'm sure they have a community manager. I have to find out who the community manager is for Bleeding Edge. But I want to see a roadmap. And one of the things I think that not State of Decay, wrong Microsoft game. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of the game. The pirate game, my gosh.
Sea of Thieves.
Thank you. The one thing Sea of Thieves did, even when a lot of people abandoned before, Summit 1G started, streaming and get other streamers to stream it. One thing they always would do, and I understand, as you stated before, this is a passion project from one of the lead, developers on one of the other games. This is not, backed by full teams and so forth. I understand that, but they would give like these like little like videos that would tell you what's coming for. Give us something like that, right? Just address everybody in a video of some sort. Right, these guys do a lot, right? And I see it. The community give us like little tidbits with stories. Community wanted skins; they give us skins, right? And I look at the game and I argue all the time, like I don't see a way for them to make monetary values consistently, right? Because all skins are earned. There's no battle pass. There's no loot boxes, nothing that allows, people to continually spend money, right? So, but I would still like to see either from the community manager or somebody to create videos on what's coming from Bleeding Edge, right? To let us know this is what we're working on. This is what we want to see. We want to hear from you. These are some of the things that we heard from you. as are some of the biggest things. So we're going to address this first, and even though this is important, we'll go to that a little bit later because we're going to address this first since most of you want to see this. Just a little bit more interaction with the community, right? I like the information that they give us, but these tidbits they give us is too sporadic, right? Like, I had no clue a new character was coming. From my standpoint, in the argument I was saying with you, I was like, Mecho's the last character. We knew Mecha was coming from beta, that Mecha was going to be the last character. The game is done. Only thing they're going to do is balancing and maybe put out a stage or two, right? That was always my argument. You say, oh, no, which you were right about, but I'm like, there's nothing to show us that they're doing it, right? You thought that maybe a lot of their team might have went over to do Hellblade 2. Hey, we don't know, but that's because there's no transparency, there's no discussions, right? And you got to look at stuff as a lot of people may not jump into Discord or even have enough time to sit in your Discord to read because I have like 20-30 Discords hooked up, right? Yo, it's crazy. I gotta mute almost all of them and just look at announcements. Yeah. That's basically
all day.
Yeah. This is disgusting how many there are, right? And I gotta remember to go back every 2 months and get rid of the ones I don't care about. It's just too much stuff. So Twitter's a good place to do it, but make videos, right? And advertise those videos. So have a video. Next time you do it inside Xbox, have my gosh, I can't think of his name. Major Nelson. Have Major Nelson say, oh, here's some more information from our Ninja Theory group with Bleeding Edge. This is, showing what their roadmaps are coming. Get that advertisements and all those things coming, right? And when you look at State of Decay, and I brought State of Decay before, they did a lot, right? State of Decay did a lot, and they continually keep updating. And yes, a lot of their details and a lot of their information that they come from is mainly on their Discord. I understand that's what a lot of people do. But you had all that information, and when new stuff was coming, it wasn't just the Discord, it was advertised everywhere, right? You knew Nightmare Mode was coming, the new DLC was coming, it was adding this, it's adding that. These are the new things that are happening, and they made that apparently available. And I'm not saying that Bleeding Edge doesn't do it. It's just that I don't know if they're working on the game.
I'm even like thinking about right now. It's such a great opportunity with the series, both the Series X and the Lockhart around the corner. If they actually were going to if they actually just threw this game in the mix to show for their optimized for Series X section, and basically just show the same game scaled up with upgraded visuals running at 60 frames per second. Like I think that would actually give it like at least a little boost of interest, and people, or just to have people see it running at 60 frames with ray tracing and everything like that. They might be like, oh, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
One thing I wanted to bring up, because we were talking about the Discord, one thing that had me like fucking scared right from the jump is that when the Discord first launched and everybody was in there, like every time they made an announcement, there were like ton of people replying with the Bleeding Edge symbol or the Microsoft symbol. Like the Discord was like jumping, and then it was like right after they did the the PC beta came in, I noticed it started slumping off then. And then it was like when it was in their last beta and they announced it, I went in there and it was hardly anybody left. I was like, what the fuck happened to all the people? And then that's when I was like, I was a little sweating there, because I was like, oh man, this doesn't look good. I saw that a lot of people went over to the Reddit, but it was just weird seeing that so many people vanished from the Discord when it was so lively when it first started up.
To let you know, I believe there was 2 Bleeding Edge Discords. There was one that was fan made, and then I think it went into the official one. So you might have been looking at the fan made one going to the official one.
Okay.
Which is another problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is communication. But yeah, I mean, going forward, I love Bleeding Edge. I want Bleeding Edge to succeed. I think just be, as you stated before, just be transparent, right? If you don't have time to do it, there's plenty of content creators out there who are passionate about this game, who will love to do those things, right? If I mean, I'm not saying that I have a lot of time, but yeah, if I, for instance, got a chance to try out a character or something, I would love to make, content or videos for it, for those type of different things. But, it's just, you got to just advertise those things, right? And just leaving it in the back to die is, I don't want to say it feels abandonment. It feels like you're abandoning us, but I don't know. It's like I feel right now where Bleeding Edge is, you have your diehards, and a lot of times the problems that a lot of players come is that they're maybe new, or they may be diehard, and you're either one, getting matches with people with bots, two, you get matches where people don't know or don't want to do what the objective itself, or three, you're going against teams that are already pre-mates, with other hardcore players, and you're solo and you're running against a pre-mate and you're getting smashed, and it just puts a dirty taste in your mouth, right? So the last thing I want to say is, I think we need new modes too. Also add new modes in the game. Please give us a team deathmatch. Just finally just give it to us and put it in there, because so many people just play team deathmatch. Just put it in there.
Deathmatch, escort.
Yeah, just like I would say right now, the way people play this game, make team. And I know this is probably the unpopular opinion, but I want to say just make it so that the deathmatch is 60% of the time, the other two are 40% of the time split between the two, because it seems like that's all everybody wants to play is deathmatch. I love the objectives, but that's all it seems everybody wants to play. It's just deathmatch.
Yeah, and as you brought up King of the Hill, and I think this is one of the games where King of the Hill actually makes a ton of sense.
Yep.
Also, I do feel an escort mission could actually work, and like it would really have to survive down the line. But I would love to see PVE entered. Like I mean, they have a little bit of it now with stuff like the fire rings and the electric walls and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But if they actually had like modded beasts running around in a level or something else that can attack you as part of the environment that's not on anybody's side.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, but the only thing is you gotta keep in mind, whatever new modes they make, they have to be compatible with the stages, right? It has to be built within the current stages that they have. So that's just the way they build the game. That's just what you have to be able to do. But those are some of our thoughts. I think this was a fun video. Maybe we'll do another video once the new character comes out, or we get more information on the new character. Are you up for that, Two Beards?
Yeah, I'm definitely up for that.
Awesome. I want to say thank you to you Two Beards for joining us today. Thank you for anybody who listened and everybody who listened. Please comment below. Let us know how you feel. Definitely about Bleeding Edge. Are you still a fan? Do you continue to play it? Did you give up? And even if you did give up, what are you looking for, in terms of bringing you back? What are you interested in? What do you want to see from the devs and from the game itself? Remember to do all those great things, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Hey, man. Sorry. Yeah, I know you got to do it, but yeah. Do all that stuff. And as Two Bears said, thank you. This is part of the KNOE. My name is Khan, founder of the KNOE, which is Know Nothing Opinion on Everything, play off of the internet. We do a lot of stuff. We have podcasts, we do gaming, we do a lot of stuff. So definitely check out our catalog. We stream on Twitch under ARNGM. And anything else, sir, before we sign off?
Oh no, thanks for having me on for this this episode talking about Bleeding Edge. It was pretty cool. Maybe we can talk about Undead Labs and what we can expect now that they have a huge team, like what the next State of Decay is going to look like, or what we would, or a wish list for it, or something like that.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. I'm a huge State of Decay fan, so yep. Thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace out.
Peace.